Yo, what's up guys? So in today's video, I am going to be showing you how I qualified for the Clash Royale League monthly finals. So guys, yesterday I showed you my games that, qualified me for stage 2. Well, now I am in the monthly finals, so I play again on Saturday, competing for the golden ticket, which is the World Finals qualification spot. So hopefully, I can do that. But today we're just focusing on the qualification to the monthly final, and I will just be talking about my thoughts about the game, how I was feeling, and why I was doing what I did. So this is not like a live commentary of me playing. This was, recorded, and now I'm talking like about how I feel and that kind of stuff and why I was doing what I was doing. So guys, basically to qualify, I needed to go 5-2 or 4-3 with a bit of luck. So obviously the goal was to go 7-0. I mean, the goal was to go 7-0 because there's 7 other people in the group, but 5-2 is what we needed to get no matter what. Like, that was do or die. And it is in dual format once again, so basically, if I use a deck, I can't use it again against that opponent. So you see against Asaf here, I have RG. So for the rest of the time against Asaf, I can no longer use RG. So guys, the reason I'm using RG here is just because I feel like RG is a really solid and consistent deck in the meta right now. I did feel like that, RG was quite a lot underrated. I felt like a lot of people weren't really countering it that well, mainly because of how popular Graveyard was in the meta. Not many people were really countering RG if they didn't have Graveyard anymore, so I was kind of abusing that the entire tournament, just playing a lot of Royal Giant. I'm also kind of good with RG as well. I had been, practicing it a lot and getting quite solid with RG, so it actually worked out pretty nicely. And there, he finally placed a Baby Dragon, guys. So he's played Wall Breakers, Baby Dragon, Bats, and Miner so far, I believe. Maybe a Zap as well. And I knew at this point that he had Mega Knight with the Evo Baby Dragon. So I knew that this wouldn't be the easiest matchup because I didn't really have, like, many ways to DPS stuff down. But one thing I was happy about here was the Evo Witch, because I knew the Evo Witch would be really hard for him to kill. So I just get the Heal Spirit down, just trying to keep the Berserker alive for as long as possible. And then I even kept the Evo Witch alive, guys, which is really good. So I just ripped an RG at the bridge here. I knew that he had the Evo Mega Knight, but I didn't really mind. I just pre-raged this up just to help get more, DPS on the Mega Knight. Maybe grab an RG hit, which I did grab. And then I even Heal Spirited. I avoided the Barb Barrel, which was really, really nice. You guys will kind of see a big theme of this match, which is me, keeping my Evo Witch alive, but also just getting Heal Spirit value. So right there, my Witch got so much value, man. And right here, he didn't have the Evo Mega Knight, so I just went RG at the bridge right away, and then I went for the pre-rage. I keep pre-raging on my RGs just because I know that I'm going to be getting a lot of damage, and my Heal Spirit healed up that Mega Knight, so I went for the Fisherman here just to yank in that Barbarian Barrel, and right here I was kind of scared, honestly. I go for the Evo Witch on defense, but you guys will kind of see, like, defense always gets awkward against this deck, so I just did a nice log here on defense, and thankfully, I didn't take any Wall Breakers damage. I did let the Baby Dragon go because I knew that if I defended, I would have probably been in a worse spot overall just by being down too much Elixir. So here I go Monk at the bridge, knowing he's going to Evo Mega Knight. But my plan here was for the Mega Knight to start hitting the Monk, but instead, it hit the RG first. So sadly, once that happened, I knew that my RG was getting full counter for no damage. I did Heal Spirit, though, keeping the Evo Witch alive for a little bit longer, getting more DPS. And right here, I honestly thought that I lost because I didn't think that I was going to be able to defend this. And you guys will kind of see how hard it was to be able to defend a push like this. I Monk here because I was scared of the Boss Bandit, and I end up taking a double Wall Breakers connection, guys. And I lost my Witch, so really, really bad situation right now. But one thing I did know is that he had no Evo Mega Knight in cycle, so I literally just RG, I pre-rage, I Heal Spirit, and I just Berserker for the Miner, knowing there's no way that Miner takes my tower. I log here, and guys, I get another rage on the RG, and I actually took the game, so that was super, super clutch. So guys, here I was playing Evo Lumberjack, Evo Baby Dragon, Bridge Spam with, the Vines and the P.E.K.K.A. I didn't have the Evo P.E.K.K.A. because I did prefer to have the Evo Lumberjack. And guys, if you don't know who Asaf is the best Goblin Drill player in the world and of all time. He's one of the only players to ever finish #1 with Goblin Drill, and he's done it multiple times at that. So definitely a GOAT of Goblin Drill, man. And right here, he was actually playing Goblin Drill, so I knew that this was going to be quite difficult because I didn't really have a big spell to be able to take out the Tesla. I didn't really have, a big spell to cycle spells, so I knew that in this matchup, I would have to break through with a big connection, but I also knew that it wouldn't be easy right here, I was, banking on him not being able to kill my baby dragon because a lot of the time, Goblin Drill does struggle at defending the baby dragons. But then I saw the Tesla and I'm like, oh, so he can do it with the baby dragons now. So I knew that this was going to be a really difficult matchup against the best drill player in the world. So honestly, my expectations in this match weren't high, but of course I was confident. You always, always, always have to remain confident no matter what. Like, even if you think you're going to lose, man, you still have to, like, be a little bit delusional. Like, in this game, man, delusional confidence is honestly really good. Like, even though I knew that my chance was, like, deep down 1%, I still was playing this as in like I'm gonna win. I think I'm gonna win, and I got this because if you lose your confidence, man, you have nothing. Confidence is everything in these big tournaments because a lot of the times you guys will see in big competitions, you've probably even noticed if you're like a CRL enjoyer that like a lot of matches literally just get decided by nerves, and I feel like a good way at dealing with your nerves, just like reminding yourself that, you are capable, you're here for a reason, you're in the tournament for a reason, and, you definitely can do it. So here, I just go for the guards on defense, and then I Barbarian Barrel on the right. Honestly, at this point, though, I was kind of sure that if something crazy didn't happen, it was going to be really, really hard for me to break through, mainly because of the Evo Tesla and the drill on defense. Like, he just always has stuff. And here I peck it in the back other lane because I'm kind of just, expecting that he has the rocket. So I didn't want to give him a potential free rocket on the Pekka in the back. I was making sure to go opposite lane. And here I had the Evo Lumberjack, but sadly I didn't have the Evo Baby Dragon, so I didn't really have them lined up, which I couldn't really get much value out of that. Here I go for a nice E-Spirit Barbell to take out the Goblins and the Bomber. And I honestly thought that I had something right here. After seeing that rocket, I'm like, okay, so he rocketed, but that Golden Knight is going to die. And then obviously it did end up dying, which is nice. So then I go for the Lumberjack, and then I do a nice heads-up play here with the Vines on the Tesla before the Ram Rider pops it. Because if the Vines stuns the Tesla, then it doesn't actually pop up. So my Ram Rider was going to go to the tower, but he knew that, and he went for a drill on defense. So once again, I got no damage, but now I did actually have the Evo Baby Dragon, so I knew that there was a chance I could get through. Sadly, I had a Ram Rider on that Fire Spear. You guys have probably noticed this game that the Fire Spear has given me a lot of trouble because I was really never able to counter it for a positive trade. I only really have E-Spirit in my deck to take it out. Here I do a nice Baby Dragon down the middle just to try to get stuff sped up. And he actually missed the rocket. He only hit the peck, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to break through. But then he had the Evo Snowball, so I'm like, oh, so he missed a rocket and I got no damage? Because he had double Evo, so it didn't actually matter that he literally missed a whole rocket. I got 0 damage. And that right there is when I'm like, okay, wait, I lost the game. Because there is no, like, more annoying thing, but there's also no, like, more telling sign that a matchup is really bad than, when they miss a rocket, they hit basically nothing, and they still win. Here I just went for the Barbarian Barrel here. Sadly, I took a drill hit, but I honestly didn't think at this point that it would end up mattering, but obviously I'm still not giving up, and I was preparing for a comeback, in this match, especially because I had double Evos. Like, I had the Evo Baby Dragon and the Evo Lumberjack, so here I'm just trying to do something, and you guys may wonder why I'm not putting my Evo Baby Dragon right with the Pekka, and obviously that's because of the rocket. I can't give him rocket value. Here I went for the Ram Rider, trying to have the Ram Rider in the speed up radius, but it just didn't matter, guys. And then he gets a third Tesla of the defense, and yeah, I still have barely hit the tower. I've gotten 300 damage the whole match. I mean, he's only gotten 700, right? But it just, like, I knew he had the rocket, he had the big spell, so I was the one who needed to break through. I did go for the Ram Rider here, and then I got a nice Vine spell, but, I mean, look at what he had, guys. He had an Evo Snowball, 2 Teslas, and a drill. Like, I am just, never, ever getting through that, and obviously, you guys see here, Asaph took a nice win, so very well played to him, obviously, but I truly like watching this back right now. I don't think there was any possible way that I could have won, but he played good, guys, and, that means we are forced to go to game number 3. Alright, guys, so here in the final match up against Asaph, I decided to go with Balloon, and the reason me and my coach finalized Balloon is because I did feel like that he was going to play Royal Giant Monk, so I thought that against RG Monk, a nice Balloon deck, right, would be good, because RG doesn't really have the greatest air defense, and we should be able, to break through really, really easily, mainly just by going Minor Balloon and doing Minor on either the Wizard or the Hunter. But sadly, he played Bait, and Bait, actually, if you guys see here, he has Vines, so it was going to be a really difficult match. Right off the start, I knew that. The second I saw Vines plus Guards counter my Balloon, I'm like, okay, I am in for a match, but I really didn't know what I was getting into. A lot of you guys may have already seen this match because so many of you guys texted me about it saying that it was insane. And I do love you all, man. I love you guys. Thank you for the support, man. Thank you for watching me live. I do appreciate that so much, guys. I love you all, man. So here I just go for the Goblins, trying to figure out the rest of his deck, and he ended up having a Valkyrie, sadly, which it was honestly kind of annoying. I wasn't happy to see the Valkyrie, but it was whatever. I just go for the Evo Cage here. What was okay about this is that I knew he didn't have a building, but the thing is he doesn't really need a building because he has the Vine spell, obviously. And then on top of that, it just makes him have more pressure. So I knew that in this matchup, realistically, it would just be me trying to defend my best and just getting a nice balloon connection. Here I do go for the Golden Knight plus ability because I didn't really want to take too much damage. And then sadly on this right side, I got a bit unlucky. I take 2 bush hits on, like, I don't really even know why they were connecting. But here, let's go for a balloon, knowing that I was probably going to get a connection. But then I'm like, oh, wait, he has vines. And then, yeah, I don't get any damage, which was kind of funny. But I just go for the Goblins, and then I Evo Zap the Princess just hoping for some damage, and all I got was death damage. So not really the greatest. And then I also knew that he had a Goblin Barrel coming up, which was still so annoying. Like, I really just could not defend that well against his deck. But right here is like, I'm like, wait, I have a counter push because I have a Golden Knight with the Phoenix, and then I went for the balloon here, knowing that all he really has is Dart Goblin plus Vine. So here I go for the arrows on the Dart Goblin, and then I did this really nice play right here. I mitered on the tower, and then I zapped to retarget the balloon, you know, because I didn't want the tower shooting the balloon. So I did get one nice hit right there. Even though he did get the Dark Goblin, I'm almost back in the damage lead at this point. But I still knew, like, the hardest was yet to come because I still have to defend a lot. I can't just randomly go Minor Balloon because of Vine spell because he will be able to defend that. So I knew that this was still going to be a hard-fought game, that he was going to pressure me really hard, and I would probably never get a push like that again. The only reason I got a push like that was because he went for the Goblin Barrel plus Princess at the bridge, which was a big mistake, knowing that I could just counter push off of it. But obviously, I knew from this point on, he'd just be making sure he had the right cycle. Here, I minored to pull the Valkyrie back, and I saw the Goblin Barrel on the inside. As you see, I Goblins exactly over where it was. That minor pullback on the Evo Valkyrie was really, really good because he didn't have a tank for the Evo Barrel. And then I just went for the ability to finish off that Dark Goblin, which was good. But as you see, man, the pressure is just relentless. Thankfully, I got a Goblin Cage on top of the right side, but you guys can see, man, it was not looking bright for me. I'm just so low on each of my towers, and it just felt like to me that I could never, ever go in. I was just always on the back foot, always defending, never really the one calling the shots. Obviously, that was because he was playing well, but, man, it was hard. Here I went for the Minor Loon, but sadly, he actually was able to protect it. So I go for the arrows here just to make sure that I take out that Dark Goblin, but right here, I honestly thought I lost because I didn't think that I was going to be able to defend. I went for the Evo Cage here for the bush, knowing that, you know, it would distract the Princess, which was great. But I also just knew it was going to be so difficult, man, to save this. I saw the Goblin Barrel on the inside again. Honestly, if it was most other people, I feel like they would have lost at this point. The only reason I was still alive was because I was literally reading every Goblin Barrel perfectly. Here I went for a Minor Balloon, and dude, I'm not going to lie, guys. I said, oh, I lost to my coach right here. I did arrows on the Dark Goblin, but I knew that with the Vine spell, I wasn't going to be breaking through. But here I went for another balloon, guys, and then I went for a Minor, and then I got the Goblins down. I saw where the Goblin Barrel was going, and I blocked it. I zapped as well, but I still didn't get through. I did get the death damage, guys, though, so you see it's a lot closer now. I had to go for the Golden Knight, and I saw the barrel again for like the 7th time, but I had the arrows on the Princess, guys. That was really bad because now I don't have, you know, arrows for the next Goblin Barrel. So I went for the Goblins here for the bush. I went for the Cage to block, and he had the Evo Barrel. I arrows on the right and crossed my fingers on the left. I even zapped here to block it again. I Goblins on the Dark Goblin, guys, and right here, it was crazy. I went for the Minor. He caught the Minor with the guards. I arrows the guards, and then I Evo zapped, and he vines my tower. But, guys, my Evo zap got the second tick, and I somehow took it, dude. That was the closest game I've played in a long time. It was a ridiculous comeback, and, dude, even watching this back, I low-key got hyped, guys. I couldn't believe it. All right, guys, so after that, you know, crazy win against Asaph, I was 1-0, man. So after all of that, I still had to win 4 more sets, which is just honestly insane to think about, guys. After all of that, I was literally only 20% of the way there, man. So it just goes to show, like, these, you know, these qualifications, man, they're not easy. They're not given. They are earned, man. So here, we were up against Rin, and you guys may see my toxic deck. You know, I'm playing P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant. The reason that I ran P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant here was just because I thought that it would be a really, really nice choice against this guy because he does like a lot of miner decks, he likes a lot of drill decks, and I did feel like that, you know, I could just kind of cheese him really, really easily with a dumb deck like this. I also knew that this guy's kind of like an emotional player, so I feel like my deck pick kind of like had a bit of psychological factor as well. I know this guy's like an emotional player. I always see him like making rage posts on Twitter and stuff like that about these types of decks, so I honestly used it for the reason that I felt like, one, it does good against him. That's why he's always raging about it. But two, I felt like that if he lost, then he would just crash out so hard that I didn't think he'd be able to win game 2, even if he had a hard counter, just because I knew that he'd be so frustrated. So I have the Evo P.E.K.K.A. in the back here, and obviously I was planning to go for the Evo Goblin Giant behind, but I had a bit of a change of mind. I went for the Goblin Machine, and the reason I went for the Machine was because Machine is nice against LP. I get a nice Arrow's Rage here as well, and that takes out the guards, and then the Goblin Machine also takes out the Little Prince, which was great, and obviously I took out everything. That's why I did Goblin Machine over the Goblin Giant, mainly just to help take out the Little Prince. I'm honestly not sure if I would have broken through with the Goblin Giant there. Looking back at it, I think I probably could have gotten through with it, but he does have the Evo Valk, so, but guys, if you look right there, he went for the Tesla by accident, so I went for the Goblin Giant at the bridge, and then I had the Fisherman and Vines ready, so I Fishermaned it to yank it, and then I Vines, and then I even raged up the guards, and right here, I knew I won, man, and I knew that he was going to be so frustrated. I just quickly went for the arrows there to finish off the Little Prince, and I took the entire tower, so I knew that he was screaming right now, guys, because obviously, not only did he lose a game to P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant, man, nobody likes losing to this stupid deck, but he also lost because he accidentally placed a Tesla at the bridge, so I got a nice win there, leaving me up 1-0 in this duel set, and we were going on to game number 2. And then, guys, I went for Graveyard. We went for Graveyard just because Graveyard is so broken in the meta. I feel like there's never really any downside to choosing Graveyard. It's just always a solid option. Very, very consistent deck, and I feel like it always just, you know, ends up getting the job done and just pretty much always getting a good matchup. And even if you don't get a good matchup, everything is winnable with it. That's one of the really, really nice things. And here, right now, I was thinking that he had Drill, but then when I saw the Barbarian Brawl, I'm like, oh, he has Graveyard. So I knew right now that it was a Graveyard versus Graveyard matchup, but the only thing is that I didn't have Vine Spell open, guys, because I used Vine Spell in my P.E.K.K.A. deck, so I knew that if he had the Vine Spell in his Graveyard deck, this would be a really, really difficult matchup. Maybe not really difficult, but it would definitely be difficult because obviously he would have the Vine Spell as the extra spell to damage down our tower because we are both using Graveyard Poison, right? So theoretically, if we poison the graveyards and we both get equal luck, then it's just going to come down to the Vine Spell because he has, you know, a Vine Spell doing an extra 75 damage every rotation. But not only that, if I try to defend the Graveyard without the poison, because obviously the game plan is I poison the Furnace, he poisons the Witch, and then we defend the Graveyard without the poison just to get the counter pushes and stuff. Basically what ends up happening is that he has the Vine Spell, which is literally just a freeze that, you know, freezes our Knight, our Witch, and then also the tower. So he's able to get a lot more damage through that. So I knew that this was going to be kind of difficult, expecting the Vine Spell. I just went for the Evo Witch in the back here because I had both of my Evos. I knew that he had his Evos as well, so I was just right now kind of hoping to get a nice Graveyard Poison on top of the Evo Furnace. So I went for the Evo Knight here at the bridge, and then I just Graveyarded, knowing that if he goes for the Furnace, I could just get a nice poison. And then I even Ice Speared as well, just to catch the Bar Barrel, keeping the Witch alive. And then I poisoned all of these Spear Goblins, because I didn't want my Witch to just straight up die. I wanted it to at least take out the Knight, because I don't want my Evo Witch to get no value, man. The one thing that I did have going for me, guys, is that he didn't, well, I guess I have the Evo Witch, so he didn't really have a great way to take it out when I use it on the Graveyard. Like, he can Vines it, he can Poison it, whatever, but when it's Evo, it's just not going to die on the Graveyard, which is nice. I even got a nice Barb Barrel here to take out that Goblin Hut, and then I got a nice Poison on the Evo Furnace, but honestly, looking back at it, I felt like that was a bit meh, because I had to overcommit with an Ice Spirit here, which ended up letting the Spear Goblins get on my tower, because the Furnace Evo wasn't going to die to the Poison, so that was just a bit of a mistake by me. Honestly, we'll never do that again, man, but you can kind of see why the Evo Witch is so broken, because it's still alive even after a Graveyard Poison. So I went for the Knight here, knowing he was going to block, so that's why I waited on the Graveyard. I hesitated, so I was able to get the Barbarian Barrel down. And once again, I kept my Evo Witch alive, guys, so my Graveyard is just chipping his tower out beautifully, because he had to waste the Barbarian Barrel on the Witch, so he wasn't able to go for a Barbarian Barrel on the Graveyard. So here I was up about, like, 400 damage. I was really confident right now. I was thinking that I was going to win this match. Like, I was up a lot of damage, so I knew that realistically, if I lose this, it would probably be a choke unless, you know, maybe I get really unlucky. There, I do take out the Furnace pretty much with the Barbarian Barrel. Sadly, it didn't get fully taken out, so I knew that there was a good chance that he would strike back right now, and I guess that was the unlucky thing that I was talking about, guys, because now he just vines on everything. I Barbarian Barrel too, but my Witch gets taken out, and I just take a bunch of damage and a Fire Spirit connection, guys. I was so mad when that Fire Spirit connected, and I'm like, oh, I lost. Nice. Because I literally went from winning by 400 to, you know, Furnace surviving on 1 HP, and then I just end up taking a bunch of damage. I did Berserker here to block that, but I also knew that from this position, it was going to be nearly impossible to come back. Here I went for the Ice Spirit, Barbarian Barrel, and then Evo Witch on the Graveyard. I could have poisoned on the Graveyard, guys, but I honestly let him get extra damage knowing that this Evo Witch push was my only chance at a comeback. So I'm down now 1,000 damage. So I go for the Graveyard here. I go for the Barbarrel to snipe that, and then I poison immediately. I Ice Spirit too, guys. And as you see, I'm already back to another Graveyard. So I went for the Knight, and then I Graveyarded again because I knew I was going to outcycle the poison, at least for a second. Right here is where everything started to kind of turn because he didn't have poison yet. I go for the poison, and then he vines the Graveyard. That is never what you want to be doing, guys. And then I went for the Barbarrel, and I won the game. So I won this 2-0. I had a really, really solid comeback right there, guys. And now I was 2-0 overall. So guys, actually here up against Greco again, and I beat Greco yesterday in the qualifiers for the first stage, which was pretty funny that I ended up getting him in on my group and facing him again. Right now, guys, my record was 4-1, so I had to beat him to qualify. Well, I didn't have to beat him, but obviously if I beat him, I would have been qualified. If I lost to him, then I would have to beat the next player. But if I beat him, the qualification was secured. So I was obviously really, really hoping that I was going to be able to win this match. Starting off here, I did decide to go for this P.E.K.K.A. Evo Baby Dragon deck because I thought that he would try to snipe me by using Graveyard. But sadly, he used Bridge Spam with the Evo Barbs, the Archer Queen, and the Battle Ram Vines. So this was a really, really difficult matchup for me. I knew that if I played really good, maybe I could have, like, a chance to win, but I also knew that if he played good, I was just going to lose because I can't kill the Barbarians, and on top of not being able to kill the Barbarians, I also don't really have a great way to kill the Elixir Collector because I kind of need to save my Lightning for the Archer Queen, so this is like the worst of all worlds. I knew that he was going to pump here, so I was just waiting with the P.E.K.K.A. so I could at least P.E.K.K.A. in the back to get the Barbs out, like the Evo Barbs, But right here, man, I was just like, so I'm really just going to get slammed by this deck. Because this deck wasn't meta. Well, it hasn't been meta for a while. So I'm like, damn, no way he whipped this out. Because this is actually the only time that I faced this deck in like at least 2 or 3 months. So it was a really good deck choice by them. But obviously, how good it was only really depended on if I was able to win or not. So here I just went for the Mother Witch just to help defend that left Barbarian, and then I also knew that I'd probably force out a Queen. Here I did a Ram Rider. I was so annoyed at my Ram Rider, man, because I really shouldn't have Ram Ridered there. I probably should have just chilled. Here I went for the high Evo P.E.K.K.A. because my cycle was kind of bad. Sadly, I lost my Archer Queen, and right here is when I knew that I lost because the Archer Queen was going to end up taking out my whole P.E.K.K.A. I did Gold Knight here, so I didn't lose my tower to the Battle Ram, and I abilitied, but man, that interaction just cooked me, bro. The Archer Queen just not getting taken out there, sadly. It just kind of rolled everything. Here I went for the Mother Witch, because obviously I'm not going to give up even with an unlucky interaction. So I do go for the Berserker, and then I think I had the Rage. Did I? Yeah, I went for the Rage here, and I even had the Baby Dragon, because otherwise I'm going to lose my tower. And I'm like, oh, GG's. So right here, guys, I lost. So I was down 0-1, so I had to win the next 2 matches, or else I was going to have to win the final duel set against Muhammad Light. So guys, here in game 2, man, after a kind of sad loss like that, I decided to go for Logbait, man. At this point, if I'm being 1000% honest, I was frustrated, guys. I was really, really frustrated that I lost that last game. Not because I thought that I could have won the matchup. It's just like I really, really didn't expect him to use that deck. So I just went in and I got hard countered and I had pretty much no chance to win. So I was just frustrated, man. Obviously, everyone gets frustrated at Clash Royale, especially, you know, pro players and stuff like that. But I also knew that to be able to qualify, to be able to do well, to be able to do your best as a player, you need to remain focused and you need to remain calm, because even if you're annoyed, right, I can always cry, and not cry, but like, I can always, you know, rage, I can always like whine and cope later, but there's no need to cope in the middle of a duel. Because if I'm just spending game 2 coping about game 1, right, then I'm probably going to lose game 2 as well, and then I'm going to get 2-0'd instead of at least giving myself a chance to be able to come back. So I played bait here, man. Was just really confident that I'd be able to beat anything thrown at me with that deck out, because I did have a bit of nice thought process behind it. I thought that Logbait could be kind of good without having the Elixir Collector, because I obviously have no big spell in my Logbait variation, so any Elixir Collector deck would kind of wreck me. So I was happy to use this with that not really available to play anymore. So here, guys, Greco ended up having Graveyard. I think this is like a decent matchup for me as long as I play perfectly, but I feel like there's not many players who could play this matchup well enough for it to be a decent matchup, because obviously he had the Evo Furnace, and Evo Furnace is just so strong against Logbait. So once again, pretty nice deck pick here by Greco. He was doing a really good job at kind of reading what I was going to play, which was not good. And obviously, I'm going to need to make sure that I switch up my deck choices in the future so I can't get red. Here I Dark Goblin in the back, kind of trying to bait out his poison, because I knew he Graveyard here. So because I had a Dark Goblin there, I knew he had to poison a bit higher than normal. So I put my Goblin Gang all the way in the back, because as you see, my Spear Goblins took a while to walk into the poison. So I was able to survive. And then here I went for a Evo Barrel Split Wall Breakers, just a tank for both lanes. And I get some decent damage on that left side. In this matchup, it's always really important to make sure that you're able to push on both sides, because in the matchup like this, man, if you get locked into one lane, you're dead, because they're just going to use their Furnace in the back over and over and over again, and you will never, ever, ever hit the tower. So here I went for the barrel in the back, then wall breakers, just to try to keep up the pressure as much as possible. Here I get some nice barrel damage because he didn't read our barrel perfectly, so I was looking really good right now. I was up 600. But I also knew that that 600 damage lead could turn into a 600 damage deficit literally in like the blink of an eye if I don't continue playing well. So I wasn't getting overconfident here. I went for the barrel and then the wall breakers, because I knew that he'd have to get a barbarian barrel down, but he didn't really have the greatest cycle. And you see there that he had the barbarian barrel on my Dark Goblin, and Dark Goblin was just cooking this entire matchup, guys. Like, Dark Goblin is so nice against Graveyard. The underrated thing about Dark Goblin in this matchup, though, guys, was that I like using it on offense, because I can use it to snipe the Goblin Huts, and if he puts the Goblin Huts lower, like you saw that he did the one before this one, I was able to just, you know, bypass the hut with the wall breakers and make an annoying push. And then here I ended up getting a lot more damage as well. And right now I had the Evo Valkyrie, which was really good because I could just use the Evo Valkyrie for defense. Evo Valkyrie does actually kind of destroy Graveyard, since the Evo Valk Tornado one-shots the Skellies. And I got a sneaky Princess the Bridge. Right there was the moment I'm like, okay, I won. And in my mind, the only way that I would lose is if I had a really big choke. I got a nice Ice Spirit down to block that, and then I knew I could barrel again because he had no Barbarian barrel in cycle. So I'm still just keeping up non-stop, relentless pressure, guys. But right here, I knew it would be, you know, mainly defense that would take it. So here I go for the Dark Goblin and the gang. I'm doing a really good job at spacing them out, so he's never really able to get both of them immediately. Obviously, he ends up getting both of them in the end, but because he can't get them immediately, the other one just ends up countering the Graveyard. And I got a nice wall breaker connection right there, so I was really happy about that. I knew that he would get one more Evo Furnace before the game ended, so I still had to be really careful. But I also knew that before the game ended, I was going to be getting one more Evo Valkyrie, so I Valkyried here just to ensure the win because I wanted to get to the evolution. So here I went for the cannon. I knew here that he was going to have an Evo Furnace, and I think, he does drop the Evo Furnace. I get the Evo Valkyrie here just to yank everything back. Obviously, my Valkyrie, like, instant drops because he had a million units down, but I just wall breakers to tank for the Furnace, and then I went for the cannon in front. I even went for a defensive Goblin Barrel there, man. I was just making sure that no matter what he did, bro, he was not breaking through, and I actually brought it back, guys. So now it was 1-1 match point. All right, guys, so in the final match here against Greco, I played Royal Giant, and I'm gonna be honest with you and just say it now. This is not a match that I was proud of, to be honest. I really didn't like this match. So basically, I knew from this point on that he had Drill, and I also knew that he will have Drill Rocket. So that was just the dumbest wizard ever. So I monked here just in case he rocketed, and then he just got a free push on the other side. I was so upset about that because I'm like, okay, if he has Drill, I know it will be with Rocket. So why did I wizard in the back? I don't know. I think I just had like a small brain lag, but I was just like annoyed at myself for brain lagging off the beginning like that. Already starting me down 500 damage, which might not sound like a lot, but at the pro level, man, 500 damage is so much. And honestly, it was just like the principle too, because like I literally said he doesn't have vines and he doesn't have poison. So if he plays Drill, it has to be with Rocket. So what am I doing the wizard in the back, man? I was so frustrated about that, but whatever, man. It happens, guys, but still, I was still really annoyed. So here I go for the Vine spell just to take out the Bomber and the Tesla, knowing that I was going to get my RG on the tower nicely. I did get 2 really nice RG hits, so I actually did take the damage lead back, but I also knew that he would be grabbing that damage lead right back from me. I just went for the Barbarian Barrel here. I knew that I was going to take a lot of damage from the Evo Snowball. I think looking back, what I should have done is I should have waited for the Drill to take more damage and then did a late Barbarian Barrel, maybe taking like 2 to 3 hits, and then I Bar Barrel, because there he got way too much damage. But I also knew that I would still very, very well be able to win this match because I do know that I am a very, very solid RG player. And because I had Vine Spell to be able to freeze the Tesla, I was really confident in my ability to be able to break through. So I cycled my Monk here in the back, and I actually ignored that Fire Spirit, knowing that if I tried to defend that Fire Spirit, I would just probably lose the game right on the spot by just being down too much, not only like tempo, but I would have been down just so much damage, man. Like, obviously that's putting me down more damage, but I knew that I was going to get something back here, whether that be a nice elixir trade or I just get some damage and a nice elixir trade. So there he went for the Evo Tesla. So he's played 2 Teslas, and that was his 3rd Tesla on the defense. I was flabbergasted that he got 3 Teslas down, but because of that, you know, I went for the RG the back. His Tesla was his last card in his rotation at this point, and I also knew that I was up a lot of elixir. So for just ignoring that Fire Spear, I went up a lot of elixir. Compared to if I defended it, right, then I would have just been down a bunch of elixir and gotten no damage anyways. So here I go for the Monk the Bridge so I could go for a nice Monk ability just to take out the Bomber. But I was also distracting the Tesla, which was great. I don't overspend with the Vine spell on that Tesla. I just let this go so I can get another RG at the bridge. And then I even... Well, I was about to Bar Barrel. Thank God that I didn't, because I went for the guards here on the Drill, and then I had a nice Vine spell for the Tesla. He misplaced that Tesla multiple times, I feel like, not realizing that I'm just going to snipe it with the vines. But I got a nice Fisherman there. I didn't overspend with the Barbarian Barrel, but right here, what I did do bad is I went for the Monk at the bridge, guys, and he actually predicted my Monk with the Rocket, which was really good. So I'm almost back in the game, but that Monk, like, Rocket prediction kind of put him back in it. Because now I wasn't just up a bunch. Imagine if he rocketed there and I put my Monk in the back. I would have won the game, but I was still looking good, guys. Like, as you see, I was still up a decent amount of elixir. So I cycled the Wizard in the back because I knew that everything at the bridge just wouldn't work. So I honestly just used that to, like, kind of set up the second push. So I went for the Monk the bridge anyways, just to be able to pop the ability on top of the Bomber, and then I went for the vines on top of the Tesla with the Fisherman. And as you see, I was already back to another RG, but I didn't overextend. I didn't overpress and get too confident. I just literally reset simply with an Evo RG the back, and then I quickly E-speared just for the 3-card cycle. So now I knew I would have been back to the RG in 2 cards instead of in 3. So I went for the Evo Wizard here. I went for the Barbarian Barrel plus guards, and I knew that he couldn't really snowball because he needed to save it for defense. So here I got a really nice Monk at the other bridge because I didn't want him to predict me with the Rocket, which was good because, as you see, he did the Evo Snowball right there. So I went for the vines on top of the Tesla, and as you see, I have RG on 2 lanes here. I popped the Monk ability just to distract, and then I went for the Fisherman to yank the Skelly King, and then, guys, I got a 3rd Royal Giant down. So at one time, I had 3 RGs just for a quarter second. I got a really good vines here, and then, guys, he missed the Tesla. I don't think it would have mattered because I was just going to keep pressuring him, but because of that, I won the game, guys, and I qualified to the Clash Royale monthly finals. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.